Do you ever feel like a hamster on a hamster wheel, not getting anywhere new? Perhaps you've hit a plateau that has you asking, is this it? Have you accomplished all you've set out to do in life and are not feeling as fulfilled as you thought you would? It is normal at midlife to reassess what's working for you and what's not. It's also normal to want to reclaim your time, your energy, and your joy. Let's make the best out of the second half of our lives by having more fun, experiencing more peace, and feeling more joy. If any of this resonates with you, then this podcast is for you. I'm Bayles Bartley. Now let's get ready to shift our shit. Hello there, Bayles Bartley from the Mindfulness Center, back with Elizabeth McCormack from the Mindfulness Center too. We are here talking about perimenopause and menopause, and this episode 4, we are talking all things sex. Sex, tricky. Desire, hormones, all the things, because we don't talk about it enough. No, people are really scared. They don't want to tell their friends. Right. They don't know what's okay to say, what's not okay to say. So we want to say all of it as much as we can. So we're unfiltered and raw here.
And usher the kids out of the room if you're listening to this on a speaker.
Yes.
Or in your car in the parent pickup line. You can hear that what's going on inside people's cars. Just
yes. Yeah. So put your earbuds in.
Please.
We're going to be focusing on physical, mental, emotional, and relational sexual health in this episode for your perimenopause and menopausal ladies. So this would be great for husbands to listen to as well.
Mm-hmm.
And whether we do it in this video or another video, we are going to talk about how to talk to your provider about what you're experiencing and how to advocate for yourself, as well as how to talk to your partner about all the things that are happening in your body, and hopefully how to get your partner to listen and understand and be respectful of what's happening in your body. So good luck with that. All right, Elizabeth.
So excited.
Where shall we start?
Okay, so I think we should just talk about the physical symptoms. There's a lot of things kind of happening that become really uncomfortable, and we don't know how to bridge that gap of
yes.
If you've had long-term physical dysfunction down there, you've had pain during sex, any of those things, we want you to see a medical provider. We don't want you to just ignore it or try to avoid
normal.
sex. It's normal. It's not normal.
Mm-hmm.
Should not be painful.
No.
Let's just say that.
Yes.
Let's start there. And there's a million things on the market right now
and more coming out.
Oh, all the time. All the time. We're so excited. Yay. Helpful marital enrichment, accessories, all kinds of things like
toys.
Feel free, but do know if you order off the Amazon, what you have purchased will remain in your history if other people use your Amazon account. I'm just saying that's a thing. I'm just saying, watch yourself.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we know that most women are going to struggle with reduced libido. Gigantic topic. It's a huge part of your sexual health. It fits in with the things we've already talked about your estrogen depletion, progesterone going down, lack of sleep, and just that testosterone. We really do not have a medical pathway that's easy to navigate that says, oh, here's what normal is. So I personally have had numerous doctor's appointments in which numerous providers I've said, I have low libido, and they're like, oh, maybe you're stressed. Oh, maybe you're tired. And one, even though she knew what I did for a living, she said, oh, maybe you don't like your partner. And I was like, out of my mind. It had been going on. Oh. We had tested the testosterone for me, and they're like, oh, it's within normal range, but normal is a ridiculous label.
Yeah.
It's not optimal. Normal sucks. And so my number was at 15. And normal is between 15 and 150 for women. Like, of course, that's going to feel different, and that's going to affect your libido. But I don't want us to get too stuck on libido, because there's other things. There's vaginal dryness, vaginal atrophy. There's just shame around the fact that my lady bits don't look like they used to look like, because gravity affects lady bits too. And then women have reoccurring UTIs. They have yeast infections to deal with. They have smells that change. I feel like my urine smell changed, not just my region. And I'm sweaty more often. And all of these things are happening. And it's like,
Yes.
Oh, I'm nervous about this. I don't want my partner to see it. I don't want my partner to smell it. I don't want it.
Right.
But I also don't want to put a bunch of foreign products, paraffins, whatever, because you're going to absorb whatever you put on your skin.
Right.
And that's your biggest organ, is that skin, and it's absorbing all the things you're putting on it. So that sensitive area, obviously, if you've had any trauma, we have to be really honest about how that complicates the sexual relationship with a committed partner or not. Whatever you got going on is great. But we need to be honest that as those changes are happening, you've got to take it seriously and not just ignore it. And you've got to get really good at being able to tell these doctors, no, I'm not willing.
Right.
I don't care if it's normal. I'm not willing to have discomfort. I'm not willing to just act like nothing's happening.
Right.
And so as most of the podcasts and all the influencers and all the stuff, everybody's talking about estrogen for down in the region.
I've
but
got
then
that.
They're like, okay, let's put a little estrogen on your face while you're at it, right? Like I needed all the skin needs some of that because it's starting to decline, and there's not really a measure of here's what makes sense, here's what's happening. We're just throwing a dart at a dartboard to figure this out.
Well, I mean, that the estrogen cream, when I was at pelvic floor therapy, they were talking about the improvements in long term, like when I'm 70 years old, like I'll be on this for I'm in my 70s, for decreased UTIs, and I've never even had a UTI in my life, like ever. Like that's not something I normally would have. But I thought, like, God, that's interesting that, and especially that area being an important area for all that.
If you consider just like location wise of where your estrogen is kind of hanging out in your ovaries, and of course your body down there is getting more of it,
right?
And that's helpful. But as it starts to decline, the symptom that's really unpleasant, that's not a full-blown UTI, but feels like a UTI, because you can have this sensation of needing to pee like you do when you have a UTI, that urgency. But then it's just because of decreased estrogen. You start putting a little estrogen in there, and that urgency, that sensation, that irritation feeling almost of like, I just peed. Why do I have that pressure down there? And it's like you add a little estrogen, that will go away. And women are not talking about that. Like I have peed in a cup so many times in the past 6 months going, I think I have a UTI. I think I have a UTI. And they're just like, nope, no UTI. You're fine. And I'm like, what is going on? And I've had kidney issues related to the lupus. And so I'm also just kind of aware, and I have a history of UTIs. So for me, it's like, oh, go pee in a cup. Okay. And that's no big deal. But this is happening. I'm having that sensation, but I'm not having a UTI. But putting a little estrogen, she said it might take a while for it to work, but I noticed it pretty immediately.
Cool.
And I'm out of town right now, and I didn't bring it with me. And I've already noticed it started to pick up again. Because I haven't used it in a week. So I think it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
And they're just kind of like, oh, if you complain enough, I guess we'll try something for you. But I don't know what the avoidance is about for doctors, except that we know they don't get enough education in this area, that they train you for months and months and months on how to deliver a baby and spend all this time about having children. And that's like the bulk of obstetrics, is the bulk of gynecology. But it's like, oh no, but 50% of the population is going to go through this process of like aging, and it's going to go on from maybe 35 to 75. And we know that not having these hormones is going to be a big deal for us. We've got to deal with what's happening.
So on that note, I moved here after I had both babies. So I didn't need an OB-GYN. So I was like, I'm not even going to look for an OB-GYN. Got my primary care person. She's great, awesome, whatever. And I had a friend who's about 10 years older than I am. And she goes, have you started having perimenopause symptoms? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, this was years ago. So I was like, what am I looking for? And she, listed off some things. She goes, if you need a gynecologist, I have a recommendation. She's not an OB. She specializes in menopause. So that is her sole focus. And I will tell you, she hands out all the stuff like Tic Tacs. Like She's not worried about any of it. She's not hesitant. She's asking me if I want to try these things. And if I say, oh, I don't know, not right now, she's like, well, just call the office and let know, we'll fill the prescription or whatever the thing is. It is incredible. So when I hear people talk about their doctor being so hesitant, I'm shocked because that's not been my experience. So if you do have an OB-GYN, like an obstetrics and gynecology person who delivered your babies, it might be, and they're being hesitant about the menopause stuff, it might be worth a second opinion to somebody who only does menopause care, specifically the hormones and all the things. My hormones have never been tested. I have never done an estrogen test. I've never done a testosterone test. They go solely by the symptoms. Yeah. And whenever I say, well, here's my symptom, and they'll say, okay, well, let's try this. If it works, I stay on it. If it doesn't work, I don't stay on it. So part of this is like, it's nice to not have that gatekeeper who's like, well, maybe try this. So anyway, that's something I really want people to be thinking about, is that your OB-GYN is not the same, might not know as much because they've been focusing on delivering babies.
Right.
And that perinatal, care.
Well, and in that space, they haven't had much education. There hasn't been a designated curriculum for menopause. I mean, I kind of feel bad at that. Everybody's coming to them complaining and they can't fix it. And they also don't really know. And they're like, well, what does it feel like in your body? And I'm like, a train wreck, and I'm not sleeping. And they're like, well, maybe you need to lower your stress. You need to exercise. You need to eat better. You need more sunlight. Like all the things we've already talked about. But it's just like, no, I can tell my libido is in the toilet.
Yes.
Like I can tell I don't have enough energy. So I did testosterone cream for about 2 years that my gynecologist was like, okay, whatever. And that did nothing. I was like, I'm rubbing all this cream. It's $100 a month. I'm doing this stuff.
Gosh.
I just felt like, no, it did nothing. So then I quit. I spent another couple years going, oh, I don't know what to do, whatever, just him-hawing around.
Yeah.
And then I get fired up again of like, I don't understand. I want to have sex. I have a good time when I get there, but there's just nothing happening inside my body. My brain is not doing it. I'm reading Spicy Lit. I'm watching Bridgerton. I'm like all the things that you think is going to like, hey, wouldn't it be fun? And my partner's a good time. He's down to clown. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
However, I don't want.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not happening. But in my brain, I can say, I want you. And I've been complaining about it for a long time. And that's when it's like, we're struggling with this testosterone piece. So I've moved to pellets. And then I have another friend who's moved to just shots. She just straight up gets a testosterone shot every week. Whoa. And she's like, the world is different. Rainbows and unicorns. She's having a fantastic time.
Okay.
And I can already tell, even though the libido piece hasn't really fit in because I haven't had the pill more, like the pellet, more than like a week or two.
And the pellet you insert?
No, you don't insert. Oh. It's under the skin, little slice to your hip.
Okay.
She sticks it in there and then she closes it up with a little steri strip and off you go.
Wow.
Not really that painful. We've all done worse. It's just a little shot to numb it and go on about your business. But the thing I've noticed is I have more energy and I don't need to sleep as much. So before I was like, I'm so tired, I'm so tired, I'm so tired. Yeah. And in the past week, even my speech feels faster.
You're fast.
Because I think I've got some testosterone and I'm like, oh, this is this how normal people feel that are like, I don't know what rage is, but I mean, just a little bit of energy is so great.
Yeah.
Like whatever it costs, I'm down because it's just made a difference.
Wow.
It's made a difference.
Wow.
So let's just talk a little bit about the low libido and kind of help people understand of like, it's okay.
Yes. What if you've always had low libido? What if it hasn't really changed or it's even dropped more, but are you scared to go on something because is it going to like shoot my libido up and I don't necessarily want to have sex all the time.
Right.
Who's
got time for that? I mean,
and if then am I sending my husband a signal that like now we're going to have sex all the time? And then what if it crashes again and then I disappoint him or whatever the thing is? There's a lot happening.
Emotionally, there's a ton happening.
Yes.
And my partner has to kind of identify like, How do they feel about this? Maybe their libido is going down because like we're all in this 50-ish space, and like that men have it too.
Yeah.
Men have testosterone replacement.
Decline,
of course, insurance will pay for the men's testosterone replacement.
Oh
but
my gosh.
Insurance won't pay for the lady testosterone replacement.
Oh my
It
goodness.
seems so ridiculous, but it's just the reality.
Wow.
It's super unfortunate. But I want to say that's partially because we didn't, as women, get included into actual research. They just considered our bodies to be smaller male bodies.
So dumb.
So in the 1990s, like
that's so dumb.
You were living your high school life in the 90s, rocking out to crazy hip hop. And that's when we started studying women's bodies. And we still haven't really spent that much time in the women 50-year-old hormonal space.
Yeah.
Like that's just studying women's bodies. So I think it's fair to say, hey, it's only been 20 to 30 years. So of course we don't have any long-term studies where doctors are going to be like, this is no big deal. You're going to be fine. I'm going to give you some estrogen and off you go. Like, and there's so many things that we have learned about. Birth control pills, like those weren't popular. And so until they became a thing and women can control their fertility, but that also affected mood. Your birth control could affect all the things. We also need to talk about, for me, it was just, a couple of years ago, went through some fibroid issues and the heavy bleeding started happening and I was just bleeding. It was a horror show. And I have plenty of women that tell me either they spot all the time. And so who wants to have sex when you're spotting all the time?
True.
Who wants to have sex when there's like a horror show coming out of your body? Like that feels really weird. Like, ooh, you don't want anybody messing with it because you're so off kilter about what's happening and all the things you're trying to do to manage that. So I guess we just really need to like accept what is happening, but then advocate for ourselves to say like, I'm not okay.
This doesn't feel normal.
For me, I had to have a doctor. I was in that space of, do you need a hysterectomy? Do you need a hysterectomy? And we were talking about it for a couple of years.
Wow.
And I couldn't practically leave the house. Things were so bad.
Wow.
And so finally one doctor called me and she's like, you are putting stress on the rest of your organs because your iron is so low because you're bleeding so much.
Wow.
And so she's like, you got to just get this done because this isn't good for your body. And it's like, oh, I didn't know. Like, I was just like, oh, I don't want to deal with a major surgery. Not to mention, anytime you go in for surgery, it's going to cost you $1 bazillion, even with designer insurance.
Right.
You still have a max out of pocket and then one surgery will hit it. You know, like those things are part of it. Of course, I am the most stellar about using my insurance to my advantage.
Yes,
and so one year I had a back surgery in January. And so I made sure I got pregnant and had a baby in December because that year was like free medical care all year long. There was no out-of-pocket costs. I mean, so you got to know how to work the system that you're in. And unfortunately, a lot of us go to the doctor. We already feel uncomfortable bringing up low libido. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Yes.
Nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
So we had to kind of say, like, yes, I like my partner. I remember what it was like back in the day when it was like, oh, this is fun. I like this. This is good for my brain.
Yes.
Having an orgasm does numbers.
Stress reliever.
Hey, so great. All the dopamine and all the connectional serotonin that I need. Oh, that's going to make us feel better. But we've got to communicate.
Yeah.
I think the communication is huge with our partner of what do I like? What do I need? What do I want? How to touch me? How all of that works is really important. And I think a lot of people get already historical resentment. So like this sexual issue has been a problem for 5 years. And so now we're both so ticked off at each other that when I initiate versus when he initiates and who's got to initiate and then who rejects who and how do they feel about it? And what do we do when my brain's not there, but their brain is, and they've got external genitalia and mine's internal. So it takes a little more figure it out. We all know how the external genitalia works. We got to spend a little more time. And then I have friends that are also shopping on various sites, various places to improve their lives. And so I have a few women that have been like, do you have a rose? You need a rose. Oh, no, you need a lemon. A lemon is the thing that has this sucking effect.
Okay.
That is not something you can just recreate with your own hand.
Got it.
These are all devices to kind of help make things maybe more fun, get more blood to the region. Like, as we lose estrogen, we're losing blood flow to the region.
Yes.
So that is going to affect lubrication. It is going to affect what it feels like with penetration. It's going to affect anything kind of happening down there. Even if it's like in cleaning it out, you need some lubrication to move things along. And so whether you have to add that and do the research and buy the things, they sell it at Walmart. Like, I mean, it's everywhere.
But also, you know, I had a friend who was telling me about an experience where she had the lubricants were not working. And so she talked to her doctor about it and was prescribed something. I don't know if it was insertable or something she took, but it was a game changer from the lubricant perspective. So if you've tried all the lubricants and you're still dry and it's still uncomfortable, I think there's new stuff coming out all the time. So be in constant communication with your doctor about that, because, you know, there's options. And if they don't know about it, you know, or do some research, just use the Google, whatever, to find out what are all my options.
For sure. But I also want you to be able to have a conversation with your partner that penetration is not the only way to have a good time.
Yes.
And so for women that have had trauma, for women that have had a really uncomfortable birthing narrative that's been traumatic, like there's lots that's gone down in the downtown, and we've got to figure out, how do we still have a good time, get both ourselves and our partner's needs met if that region isn't available to us?
Yes.
If that feels so uncomfortable, and even all the suppositories and all the things in the world don't fix it, what do we do?
Right.
And how do we get creative in the bedroom to address that?
Well, was it you who we were talking about this, or I was looking at it somewhere. I was reminded about the percentage of women who actually orgasm vaginally, like when they're having sex with their partners.
Yeah.
And there's an actual
20%.
20%. See, I think
20%.
I think I saw something about it being like 10%. Like it was so small.
Even small. Yeah. Okay, so we're saying that most women do not orgasm from penetrative sex. That you do need clitoral stimulation to orgasm. External. Okay, and to make compound this situation more difficult, everything everyone's watching. So if we talk about movies, if we talk about porn, if we talk about any of the places where you see sex, it's orgasm at the same time through penetration. It's that even in the spicy lit, they're orgasming. I mean, they talk a lot more about other options. However, there's still this narrative that we're going to orgasm at the same time with just Pound Town. And it's just, I'm sorry if that's offensive. It's just not how it works. It's just not how your body works. Like, your erotic zone and the place that has the most nerve endings it's outside, just like it's outside for them. But the research that we all were told by reading the magazines back in the 90s, they were like, G-spot. It's like, good luck deep sea diving. I have no idea. Like, whatever, it's not working. And you can all laugh, it's fine. But it's hard.
It's different for everybody, and it can be different with different partners.
That's a thing.
So, I think if you have in your mind but I remember a partner I had before I got married or whatever, where that was possible, why can't I do that now? Because I think we've kind of, for the 20 years, you're working on your career, you're working on getting married, you're working on having the kids and the house and the things or whatever. And then you hit this 40s and you're kind of in a bit of a plateau in a lot of ways, but then all this shit happens, like this eruption in your body happens, right? Mm-hmm. So everything is like your awareness, the autopilot is awoken, right? So I think I'm curious for people about remembering back to, well, why isn't it like it was when I was in my 20s? Because you're not in your 20s anymore.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, but it was only 20 years ago. That is not that much time.
Wasn't that the 80s? Wasn't 20 years ago the 80s?
20 years from now,
Fine,
so,
whatever.
It's an interesting way to think about it, of trying to make sense of it. But I do think, I don't know how open women are with their girlfriends, or certain girlfriends maybe, to say, are you experiencing this? I'm experiencing this. Is that weird? You know, it could feel better talking to your therapist, talking to your healthcare provider. Mm-hmm. You know, I have had women who come in, or couples who are, you know, women's like, I can't stand my husband. I either know for sure I don't want to be married to anyone else or whatever, but I can't stand being around him because of all the things. And that might be because he's more of a touch-oriented person, and she doesn't want to be touched. Or, you know, and I've even had, you know, lesbian couples, same way, you know, like,
oh yeah, your sexual desire is not meant to be the same.
So yes,
100%.
And so, you know, and though, how, if that hasn't always been addressed or talked about, if you've been together for 10 years or 20 years, how do you now start talking about it? Because that's a hard one. If
we have hit resentment that this hasn't been going easily and well, if we've gone through IVF and had to have sex in a schedule, that's no fun. If we've got kids that are going to interrupt us, I mean, the things that are going on in your brain to decide, do I want to have sex? Well, when was the last time I showered? Well, when was the last time he showered? Well, did he brush his teeth? Did he brush his tongue? Did he, like, what grooming things need to happen? What is the temperature? I don't want it to be too hot or too cold because I can't get, is the fan on? Is the lights on? Do I need to sensory deprivation chamber to make an orgasm happen?
Planet in this alignment.
And are the kids going to knock on the door? Did we lock the door? Did we do we have the lube? Is the lube out? Have the children gone searching through our house to find what's going on in the house?
Yes.
Do we have sexy lingerie? Well, who's going to see that?
Yes.
Like, are my cleaning people going through all of my drawers? That's embarrassing. Like,
yes.
How in the world does any of this ever happen? How does it ever happen?
Yeah.
If like all of these stressors are put on top of this thing, and it's like, do I even have the energy to just take off my clothes?
Yeah.
I mean, that's dumb. Yeah. And then I've got to pee afterward because sure don't want to have a UTI.
Yeah.
How much pee do I need to have? Do I need to drink some water because now I've messed up my balance?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's a lot. Smells are weird for ladies. For men, everybody's got some smell stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Who's gonna deal with a wet spot if we're changing the sheets? Like, you guys, I don't want it to be that hard. But it is. But it's complicated.
And so this is back to like making friends with the discomfort. Like, this is uncomfortable. These conversations can be uncomfortable, you know, and so, you know, how do you rip off the Band-Aid and just have the conversation? And sometimes you're not going to say all the right things. I mean, here's the thing we know about communicating, right? Is like, saying the thing matters more than not saying the thing, you know, and then if you say it in the wrong way,
tone,
whatever,
body language,
how do you repair that afterwards? To say, I'm sorry, I said it meanly or whatever.
Stop touching me.
Yeah. Like angrily or whatever. You know, I'm really uncomfortable about talking about this. How do I, you know, I mean, I think the biggest thing, the word that I keep going through my mind is respect. Like, how do I ask, if I need to, you know, how do I communicate to my partner, to my kids, to my provider? Like, I am not feeling respected in this moment. Like, you know, this doesn't feel respectful. Like, you not listening to me, or you looking at your phone while I'm trying to have this conversation, or you know, whatever, whoever it is, you know, like, this feels, you know, and again, back to that, oh, you're too sensitive, you're too whatever. It's like, okay, fine.
Who cares?
You can think I'm too sensitive, you know, I think it's my superpower, you know, like, and I'm communicating what's going on in my body, and you don't seem to care.
Or don't know how to fix it. Because
and you don't have to fix it.
I don't want you to fix it, but I don't know how to fix it either, right? And so we're both in this like strange foreign land.
Yes.
And then we get weird feelings about being in the strange foreign land, like, oh, you just don't desire me anymore, or you're just not attracted, or our bodies are not the same as they used to be.
Yes.
And that's complicated.
Yes.
It's just complicated space, and the energy crisis that we're currently having. I don't have enough energy.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, so how much energy am I spending up during my day, doing my work, doing my normal life, Do I have 10% left of my cell phone battery to hang out with my partner? And for me, at night, forget about it. I like to go to bed at 8:30. I don't know when that my partner is going to bed. I don't know when my kids are going to bed at this point. They're teenagers, live your life. But nighttime is not going to be the time to come talk to me.
No,
absolutely not. No. I don't want to have a conversation. I don't want to talk. Don't come touch me. Like, kiss me good night and see the door. Like, I don't. I'm tired.
Yeah. So changing up time of day.
Totally.
You know, having sex in the morning or, being affectionate or whatever. And like maybe your frequency, one about the desire of like if you were once a day, once a week, like maybe it's going to change. It's going to change.
Yeah. And I like to really tell women to kind of help them, let them off the hook, because lots of women are having sex for lots of reasons. One, it's like, I don't want my partner to have sex with somebody else. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's not a reason to have sex. I don't want your partner to want to have sex with someone who doesn't want to have sex. Like, I know that's weird, but I don't want your partner to be like, oh, it's normal to have sex with this person who doesn't want to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that feels bad.
Yes.
And so we've got to get around, what does this look like?
Yes.
And how do we talk to our partner about it? And how do we respect what they need? And how do we respect what we need, especially in long-term relationships? The idea that you're going to have sex early in your relationship and you're going to have kids and you're going to do this stuff. What happens? You still have a sexual identity and a life from 45 on. How are we not talking about that?
Yeah.
That seems crazy.
Yes.
That of course it's going to be different.
Yes.
And how frequent are you? And the thing that I kind of, when we're in this space of losing estrogen, losing progesterone, and losing testosterone, your body is designed to desire sex when you're ovulating. So for lots of women, they want to have sex when their estrogen shifts. That's right before their cycle starts. So just a couple of days, but you may be suffering with PMS on those days. So then it's like, nobody better touch me. But that's kind of when your body has a little change in the spice.
Got it.
Then the other time that your body is ready is right when you're trying to get pregnant. Like your body wants you during ovulation to have sex. And so that's when, so if if your ovulation happens when there's a full moon, or your ovulation happens, I know that sounds really woo-woo, but like
it's not, it is a thing.
Weird things happen in emergency rooms and full moons. Anyway, but like if you can pay attention to that and not have that only be the burden of the female, which feels like a burden to be like, I'm the only one keeping track of what's my cycle actually doing,
which goes back to mental load type stuff.
100%.
Stress, mental load, and the thing that you woman is thinking about just inherently.
And lots of women have shouldered that burden, especially if you're Catholic and you don't believe in birth control and you're doing that family planning method where you're watching your temperature, all the things. But that's about your body then wants to have sex when you're ovulating because you have the right level of estrogen and progesterone and testosterone happening. That's how your body is designed to work.
And now
so lots of people who are like, no, we want to have sex every Friday, or we want to have sex every other day. And it's like, your body's not going to want to do that. I mean, the chemicals just aren't there. You've got to get creative and other ways to make yourself interesting.
Yes.
And just to add a side note, complete sidebar, but if your partner has watched a lot of porn, there is a huge difference than the kind of porn that was magazines of looking at women back in the day. So we're back to the 80s and 90s. That's the exposure we had. Or you went into the back room at the Blockbuster that had the video. You had to be kind, rewind. That was the exposure. Now everybody has porn available to them in their pocket.
Yeah.
And the way people behave in porn is not real life. No. It is pretend.
Yes.
The way women
exaggerate
orgasm, what people's body parts look like even in the education for me of talking to my teenage boys, I didn't expect the sex episode to bring up the teenage kids, but even in how we're talking to kids and educating them in an uncomfortable space, they don't want to hear nothing that you're going to have to say. You just got to keep on talking and ignore their discomfort so that you can give them the information of like, people don't act like that. Don't think they're going to act like that.
No.
That's not normal sex.
Yes.
Use
your critical thinking skills to say, is this
I don't know that they haven't. I mean, it's in under development. I like to consider their brains as under construction.
But we want to encourage, critically think. Does everybody
does this look like for everybody? Is this real life or is this
pretend?
You know,
Fiction. It's fictional.
Yeah. So I mean, it's tricky.
But if your partner's had a different experience or been doing all of that, they're visually stimulated. And that visual stimulation is not how your brain works necessarily. And so we've got to mind the gap between how my brain works and how your brain works. Or how much desire my body has versus how much desire your body has. It's different. And there's not numbers for that of just like, oh, you test positive for desire. Way to go.
Well, yeah, it's a range, right? Like, I think everything's on a percentage of like, are you ever at 100%? Or is it like 95?
No, my joke is now that I am a very old cell phone and my cell phone battery, my battery doesn't charge all the way to 100% anymore. Like, we all know that's why we keep buying new cell phones, because the battery just doesn't hold that charge the way it used to. And I kind of feel like that's my body right now, is that I am not charging to 100% these days. And I have my brain that's like, do all the things you've always done, plant all the flowers, garden, take care of all the things, make the meals, make your own granola. Blah, 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 blah. I do love to make my own granola, but I haven't done it in years because my battery's not charging to 100%. No. I'm waking up.
It's priorities. It's what's your priorities. Where's your attention being pulled in other ways and what you have to do versus all the things you want to do.
And as the estrogen's going down, our interest in taking care of everybody else's needs. Oh my, it's on the way out. It just is like, I don't want to keep taking care of everybody's needs. That was necessary when you were birthing babies. That keeps babies alive, is that you have this high level of estrogen that wants to take care of others. As our estrogen declines, we stop wanting to take care of others. And the others are not happy with it. They are not feeling that this is beneficial to them. So we probably need to switch and talk about our relationship, because we've kind of weaved in and out of it.
Well, so, are we going to come back? Are we going to do a whole episode on? I think we should do a whole episode. We've touched on it a little bit. But I think we'll do a whole episode on
bridging the gap with your partner.
Bridging the gap with your partner in perimenopause, just talking about the relationship, just, maybe you're having doubts about, is this the right person for me? There's a lot there that's
true.
Some sex related and desire related, but I think there's just so much more. So anything else we need to touch on? Few things I've heard of or been exposed to that I think can be helpful with this specific topic. One, if you genuinely feel like if you were going to have sex, that you would only want to have sex with your current partner, tell them that. Because that makes a huge difference in their mind psychologically. So if you were to say, because if they think you don't want them, it's different than that you not having desire.
You don't want anybody.
So if you say,
you don't want any sex.
I don't want to have sex with anyone but you. Like that goes a long way. That goes a very long way. I don't want to have sex with anyone but you. Right? So that's one thing to try. What else? There was something else I was thinking about.
Oh, here comes your brain. Welcome to perimenopause.
Not working.
Totally forgot.
Not working.
Oh, so many things. It happens all the time.
Yeah, we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it. I mean, there's all little ways. One thing I was thinking about is, at what point does somebody see a therapist to talk about this stuff, to see a sex therapist to talk about this stuff, floor, or even having the couple go to sex therapy too, because we end up, I think I've seen often we end up with someone in the therapy room, either the husband or the wife or whatever, couple, and they're saying like, my partner doesn't desire me anymore, or I don't desire my partner anymore. We don't have sex ever, right? And so
I touch you when you pull away.
There's a lot going on in that. We don't know specifically, obviously we want to say, go see a medical provider and see what's going on, because if your wife is between 35 and 55,
good luck.
Plus, that's a tricky time. So helping men understand that is really important. And I do see so many male influence out there. It's talking about perimenopause and being
the good partner.
Yeah, so empathetic. And so like I try to repost those because it's just so like, yes,
everybody needs to hear this.
You got this, like keep this up. There's empathy there for what's happening in our bodies. Like our bodies were designed to have babies, and then there's only a certain amount of time to do that.
It's a small window of your life. It really is.
Well, if you think about it, 13.
Oh, I don't want us to be talking about 13. But if you babies start a period, that's fair. Your body can do it.
Right.
Once your period starts.
Yeah. So, it's tricky. So, yeah, I think, a therapy is always a way to have an extra person in the room.
Help the conversation.
That will hopefully be objective and
advocate for all things that are okay, normalize,
and all the things. And it's okay to go in first by yourself and say, here's where I'm at. I'm worried about inviting my partner to therapy. She says they're not going to come with me, but I know I need some help understanding that. Like, that is okay. We see that all the time. We're not going to necessarily choose sides and be like, oh, your partner's, horrible for not coming to therapy with you. We also, because of what we do and how we do it, sometimes we invite the partner to come one time to figure out how can you help me help your partner who's seeing me in therapy. So there's ways to go about this that just gives us more information to help the system, the relationship. So there's not one way to do that. And if you have specific questions on that, or, would this be appropriate or whatever, we do offer free 10-minute consultations. All of our therapists do. If you don't see it available online, you can email each therapist, contact them through our website, and ask if that's the therapist you want to work with. Some of our therapists don't work with couples, so that's something to be looking for too. But so, we want to make sure that we're the best fit for you. You feel comfortable with us. So sometimes those are the kind of questions that we get asked,
all the time
in those appointments. So yeah, it's tricky. It's so tricky. So, all right. Well, we'll wrap up. This is episode 4. We're not going to do a part 2. We're going to roll into episode 5, which will be about your significant love relationship, whether you're married or you're partnered or you're dating someone or want to date someone. We'll talk about how that affects that long-term love relationship.
Yeah.
All right. See you then.